Reborn in Marvel, marrying Scarlet Witch unlocks overpowered treasures. Episode 31 Magneto and Mystique. Knack Island. Located about 300 nautical miles northeast of New York. The island is more than 80 nautical miles away from the nearest land. This also leads to the fact that there are not many permanent residents on the island. The total population of the only small town is only a few thousand people. On the seaside, far away from the town, there are buildings with moss-covered exterior walls. This was once a private prison. But it was abandoned more than 10 years ago. Ever since there were rumors that the prison was haunted on the island a few years ago, people on the island generally would not come here easily. At this time, in a watchtower in the prison, standing was a mutant with light blue eyes. The mutant's eyes kept scanning the distant sea. When he saw a certain direction, his face looked slightly startled. For no other reason than in the direction he was looking at, a yacht was slowly heading this way. But the man didn't pay too much attention. Although the island is located in inaccessible waters, yachts driven by rich people come here from time to time. Under normal circumstances, it only takes a little action from them to frighten these life-hungry rich people away. Thinking of this, the man picked up the walkie-talkie in his hand. "Mike, there is a yacht approaching us, give him some color." "Sure." In a small wooden house, a dark-skinned young man heard the words coming from the intercom. There was an excited smile on his face. "Don't worry, I guarantee you can give them an unforgettable memory." Putting down the walkie-talkie, the man walked out of the wooden house, looked at a small white dot appearing on the sea in the distance, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, took a run and jumped into the sea water. When the man entered the water, the surrounding water flow was under his control, forcing him to shuttle towards the yacht at high speed. On the yacht, Suemo and White Queen were sitting in the awning on the deck. Each held a glass of champagne in their hands. "There seems to be a small fish swimming towards us." White Queen took a sip of champagne and said with a smile on her face. At the same time, her eyes looked toward a certain location underwater. "Do you mind if I try out my new abilities on him?" "Just do whatever you want." The corners of Sumo's mouth rose slightly. After a period of practice, the White Queen's illusion skills have made great progress than before. Of course, the most important thing is that she finally formed her first soul seal. This means that as long as she shoots the soul mark into the opponent's sea of consciousness, she can obtain a permanent slave. Even if the opponent is hundreds of times stronger than her, there is no way to escape the control of the soul mark. Unfortunately, condensing soul seals is not an ordinary difficulty. Otherwise, it would not have taken a full month to successfully condense one. This is based on her mind control ability. This soul seal was naturally prepared by Suemo for Magneto. This is why he had to wait for more than a month. After all, against Magneto, the number of flying knives he controls does not make much difference. Even a few decades ago, Magneto could easily control a 1,000-ton submarine. As long as Magneto is prepared, even if he can control hundreds of flying knives, I'm afraid it won't have much effect on the opponent. His psychokinesis mainly serves the purpose of surprise. And using the soul seal to control the opponent was the best way he came up with to deal with Magneto after thinking about it. If the other party dares to scheme against him, Suemo will naturally not let him go easily. Compared with killing the other party, this method of permanently enslaving the other party is more in line with Sumo's interests. With Sumo's permission, White Queen's eyes flashed with silver light. Less than half a minute. There was an explosion on the water next to the yacht. The man named Mike jumped out and slapped on the deck like a dead fish. After taking control of Magneto, this person can be considered as our subordinate. Maybe he can come in handy in the future if he stays. White Queen explained. As the exact person who implemented it, she was naturally very clear about Sumo's plan. There are now a total of 138 mutants on the island. Most of them are mutants below level 3. Only 4 of them can be considered to have some combat effectiveness. They are Magneto, Red Tank, Pyro, and Bone Spur. White Queen Emma spoke out the news she got from Mike's mind. "Bone-piercing man?" Suemo looked stunned. He was no stranger to the 3 people in front of him, but he seemed to have never heard of the last one. Bone spikers can continuously generate bone spikes in their wrists, which can be used for throwing and as close-quarter weapons. White Queen explained with a smile. Suemo had a look of surprise on his face. He seemed to have some impression. However, this ability is not much better than that of ordinary people holding guns. Even this kind of ability is considered to be among the top in the Brotherhood. It is conceivable how the Brotherhood has declined. At this time, the mutant standing in the watchtower saw the yacht approaching the shore, but Mike, who went to stop it, couldn't get in touch. Suddenly I realized something was wrong. At that moment, he quickly ran towards the main building. But just after running 2 steps, his eyes rolled and he fainted. On the top floor of the prison, Magneto, wearing a helmet, stood in front of a special cell. Raven, I admit my previous mistakes. I just ask you to put down your hatred and join us again in fighting for the future of mutants. In the cell in front of Eric was a fair-skinned woman with short hair. The woman sat on the bed in the room and glanced outside without any emotion. I don't want to be ruthlessly abandoned again after being useless for 1 day. Eric heard this and quickly explained. Raven, listen, that wasn't my intention. Without your ability, continuing to follow us will only harm you. But Raven in the cell obviously didn't believe what the other party said. There was a mocking expression on his face. Really? Then I really blamed you wrongly. Raven, Shut up. Seeing that the other party still wanted to make shameless excuses, Raven let out an angry roar, and then his face gradually calmed down, and he stared coldly at Eric outside the door. Kill me, or one day I will twist your head off your neck. As she spoke, the skin on the surface of her body flipped, and finally she turned into the appearance of a middle-aged man. Your mother died in my hands, don't you want to avenge her? You. Eric watched Raven transform into Black King Shao and kept mocking himself. He suppressed the anger in his heart. Raven, one day, you will understand that everything I do is for the continuation of mutants. After saying that, Eric walked away. Mystique Raven in the cell regained her appearance, looking coldly at Magneto, who disappeared in the corridor. Just came downstairs. The figure of the fireman came forward. Eric, long time no see. Episode 32. You know nothing about power. Sure. Magneto looked at the approaching yacht with an uncertain expression on his face. The other mutant stood 10 meters behind him. You know, he has found White Queen several times before and asked her to join his brotherhood. After all, the only thing missing from his brotherhood is a mutant with telepathic abilities like the White Queen. If the other party joins, many of your ideas will be easily realized. But these times, without exception, they were rejected by the other party. Now that White Queen came over on her own initiative, he didn't think it was because she agreed to his previous request. However, he was not worried that the other party would be detrimental to them. After all, although his ability has not been completely restored, there is nothing to worry about just relying on the strength he has recovered now. With Black Queen's helmet that can isolate mental power, he is not afraid of White Queen's psychic ability at all. Even if the White Queen controls all these mutants, he is confident that he can handle it. After all, among the remaining people, the strongest one is Red Tank, and Red Tank, like him, is immune to the opponent's psychic ability. The advantage is mine. Soon, the yacht docked on the shore. Unexpectedly, 2 people got off the boat. And the first person to get off the boat was a young man. The White Queen he valued very much was behind this young man. Who is this person? Seeing Suemo walking in front, Eric looked doubtfully at the White Queen behind. However, the White Queen had no intention of introducing her. Suemo, who was standing in front, had a chuckle on his face. Mr. Eric, I heard that you are very short of money and wanted to get my support, so I came here to take a look. When it comes to investing, you have to let investors see the project and the benefits. After hearing what Suemo said, the expressions on the faces of everyone following Magneto changed at the same time. Some time ago, I was thinking about how to force the other party to give up my family property obediently, but now the other party came to the door. It was obvious that the other party was not a good person. The expression on Magneto's face, who was standing in front, did not change at all. He walked forward in 2 steps and got in front of Suemo. Boy, don't think that with Emma's support, you can show off your power in front of me. Hearing this, Suemo had a gentle smile on his face. Oh, so in Mr. Eric's opinion, does this count as showing off one's power? Then what is this? As soon as he finished speaking, Suemo kicked out his right foot like lightning. Magneto didn't even have time to react. He felt a pain in his stomach, and a strong force came from him. After knocking over several people behind him, he hit hard against a coconut tree not far behind. After a body bounce, he fell to the ground. A trace of blood spit out from his mouth. Court death. Seeing Suemo take action, the Red Tank standing aside rushed towards him. Pyro Allardyce, who originally wanted to take action, extinguished the flame in his hand after seeing this scene, turned around and ran towards Magneto. Suemo looked at the rushing red tank, raised his right hand, a layer of vibranium armor appeared on his arm, and slowly made a fist. Diamondization. He turned to Emma and reminded her. Then, turn sideways and punch. 3x strength increase. Boom. The fist collided with the shoulder of the charging red tank. 300 tons of power exploded instantly. After a meal, the red tank's body exploded into tens of thousands of skin fragments. On the other side, after Magneto was helped up by Pyro, he had no time to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth and suddenly distanced himself from him. He wasn't sure whether this was the real Pyro himself or the Pyro controlled by the White Queen. If the opponent takes off his helmet when he is not prepared, he will undoubtedly become a piece of meat on the White Queen's chopping board, at the mercy of the opponent. When the fireman saw Eric's actions, his expression froze. Sorry, Allardyce. I have to be on guard, after all, you have just been controlled by the White Queen without your noticing. Pyro Allardyce had an ugly smile on his face. I see. As soon as the two people finished speaking, there was a huge amount of noise, and a metal helmet fell at the feet of the two people. Only then did the two of them look towards Sumo's position. Seeing the hell scene with blood everywhere within a few dozen meters in front of the other party, the expressions on their faces changed drastically. Ah! A series of screams came from the crowd of mutants. Because they were right in front of Suemo. Their bodies were almost covered in shreds of red tank skin. Although each of these people has at least a few human lives in their hands, this is the first time they have encountered someone so cruel. No, the devil, he is the devil. After a female mutant shouted, she ran away with a nervous breakdown. It seemed to have caused a chain reaction. Shouts of collapse sounded one after another. More than 1/3 of the mutants collapsed directly under the stimulation of the scene before them. One by one they scrambled to escape towards the rear. Magneto watched these mutants flee one after another, and the expression on his face gradually calmed down. You leave first and leave the affairs here to me. After giving instructions to the burning man, he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and slowly rose up. Not killing me directly would be the stupidest decision you have ever made in your life. Magneto, who was floating in the air, said coldly. Then he slowly spread his hands, and the surrounding magnetic field changed by huge amounts under his influence. In less than a few seconds, a powerful magnetic circle formed around him. After ensuring his own safety, his eyes fell on the White Queen behind Suemo. Emma, although I don't know what benefits the other party has given you, it's still too late for you to choose to give up on him and join the Brotherhood. White Queen smiled and shook her head. I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you. Hearing the other party's rejection again, Magneto's expression turned cold. It seems that you still don't understand the situation clearly. After I deal with this kid in front of you, you will change your mind. At this time, Suemo on the side also looked away from the system panel. Unexpectedly, just by killing one red tank, he gained more than 20,000 points. Right now, he was only about 3,000 points away from redeeming Muyijing. It seems like you think you have a guaranteed victory. Suemo raised his head and looked at Magneto in the sky, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Magneto looked at Suemo calmly. The physical strength is limited after all. The only way is to be able to control the power of nature. You know nothing about my power. As soon as he finished speaking, within 1 kilometer around him, countless metals slowly flew off the ground under the control of the magnetic field. Next, I'll let you clearly see the gap between the two of us. Episode 33 Magneto. At the moment when Magneto exerts his power. SHIELD headquarters. A shrill alarm sounded. Nick Fury hurriedly came to the combat command room. Can anyone tell me what happened? Coulson shook the tablet in his hand, and the picture above was directly transferred to the huge amounts of screen in the war room. The scene in the picture is exactly what happened on Knuckle Island. Director, Magneto seems to have had a conflict with someone else. Enlarge the screen. Nick Fury gave an order, and the distance on the screen narrowed. But now, under the control of Magneto, the island is completely enveloped in a powerful magnetic field. Apart from seeing the vague figure of Magneto flying in the sky, the specific situation inside could not be seen at all. Director, although the conflict occurred on the east side of NAK Island, if it continues like this, it may affect the residents of NAK Town. Then what are you waiting for? Contact Professor X as soon as possible. He knew very well that it would undoubtedly be very difficult to rely on ordinary agents like S.H.I.E.L.D. to deal with powerful mutants like Magneto. Unless some weapons of mass destruction are deployed. But using these weapons can easily make things get out of hand. Thinking of this, his desire to form a special emergency team became even more urgent. Xavier Academy for Gifted Youngsters. In a classroom. Just like what I usually say. Professor X, who was sitting in a wheelchair and teaching children, suddenly stopped talking. Slowly turned his head and looked towards the door. Really? After a moment, Beast Hank pushed the door open. Professor, something happened. After a few minutes, a fighter plane slowly took off from the academy. Inside the fighter plane. Damn it, it seems that the antidote developed by the government through Jimmy is not very reliable. Aurora, the storm girl who controlled the fighter plane, complained. Jimmy was the boy who could make the mutants around him lose their ability. After he was rescued, he stayed in the mutant academy. Wolverine Logan is sitting in the cabin with a cigar in his mouth. I told you a long time ago that I should have crushed that kid's heart right then. He was born in 1832, which makes him nearly 200 years old. It is not unusual to call Magneto this way. Moreover, after several battles, due to the adamantium in his body, he was almost completely defeated by Magneto's ability. Every time he met Magneto, he could only be at the mercy of the other party, and naturally, he had no good impression of him in his heart. Okay, Logan. Now is not the time to discuss this. Professor X said with a solemn expression. What we should consider now is how to stop the other party. Beast Hank adjusted his glasses, and after some hesitation, he took out a plastic pistol from his backpack pocket. Do you want to shoot the opponent again? By gauze. Logan moved his butt away from the other party. To him, this thing was almost the same as poison, and it would probably kill him in one shot. Why do you still have such a thing in your hand? Hank spread his hands. This was kept from the last war. I think maybe we can use it one day. On Knuckle Island. Suemo looked at the metal flying around. There was also a hint of wonder in his eyes. The title of Scene Man is indeed well deserved. Ability has not yet been restored, and it can cause such a large-scale impact. Magneto in the air waved his right hand gently. Countless metals gathered together in the air, and within a short time, they formed a huge thing. A conservative estimate is that the weight has reached thousands of tons. Magneto looked at Suemo on the ground with a smile of victory on his face. I don't know if you can withstand this blow with your strength. Suemo didn't take it seriously. The reason why he didn't stop the opponent was that he was sure of defeating the opponent. Mutants like Magneto, just like mages, are indeed strong enough in their ability to manipulate metals. It is so strong that even if they break through to the planet level, it is difficult to completely suppress the opponent in terms of telekinesis. However, he also has a huge amount of shortcomings, that is, his body and reaction ability. Even with Sumo's current physical fitness. At full speed, with your own flexibility, as long as you don't carry metal objects with you, the other party won't be able to hurt you in a short period of time. As long as the opponent is within the scope of his psychokinesis, it is easy to control the opponent. Magneto's helmet is his best weapon. Looking at Magneto floating in the air, Suemo slowly stretched out his right hand towards the other party. You are happy too early. As he spoke, he gently shook his right hand. The moment he saw Sumo's actions, Magneto realized that something was wrong, and hurriedly controlled huge amounts of metal blocks in the air to hit the opponent. Unfortunately, it's still a little late. As Suemo closed his palm, Magneto felt a sharp pain coming from his head. The helmet that isolates the ability of the mind instantly turns into a shrinking cage. Damn it, how is that possible? Magneto's expression changed. He held the helmet with both hands and tried hard to take it off his head. But apparently everything was in vain. Under Sumo's psychokinesis, the neck area under the helmet has shrunk and become as thick as the neck. The helmet was originally made by Black King Shao. In order to guard against Magneto, the material does not contain a trace of metal. This also resulted in him having no way to control the contraction of the helmet through magnetic force. As Sumo's power of thought increased, Eric felt as if his head was going to explode. Boy, if you win, we can sit down and talk. Looking at Suemo below, he reluctantly suppressed the anger in his heart. His life was in the opponent's hands, so he had to surrender, but he secretly made up his mind to cut him into pieces after getting out of the current predicament. Talk about you. Suemo had no intention of talking to the other party, but instantly increased the psychokinesis on his helmet. After being manipulated, he still acted condescending. He didn't intend to talk to himself, but was just forced by the situation. Moreover, looking at Magneto's life, he has never been a person who keeps his promises, and Suemo believes in the reliability of the soul seal more than promises. As psychokinesis intensified, the pain soon overwhelmed Magneto's consciousness. Finally, after the helmet shrank to a certain extent, Magneto let out a scream and fainted. The surrounding magnetic field became chaotic for an instant after losing control. All the metals flying in the air fell to the ground, including the huge amounts of metal aggregates controlled by Magneto. Although Sumo's psychokinesis is not enough to lift the metal block, it is not difficult to push it in the air. Driven by psychokinesis, the metal block crossed a parabola and fell directly into the distant sea. Psychokinesis then controlled Magneto's body and landed in front of White Queen Emma. Suemo waved his right hand gently, and the helmet quickly returned to its original shape and fell off his head. The rest is up to you. Episode 34, The Addition of Mystique. The silver light in White Queen's eyes slowly faded. Certainly. Nodding, she pointed at a group of mutants who were walking slowly with dull eyes. These are the mutants you asked me to screen out, whose crimes are enough to spend their lives in prison. Well done. Suemo praised them, and then his eyes fell on these mutants. While he was dealing with Red Tank and Magneto, Emma began to use her psychic abilities to read the memories of these mutants. The purpose is to screen out those mutants who have done all kinds of evil. For Suemo, the only function of these mutants who were not even level 3 was to turn them into points. These people promised to kill without any burden. Several flying knives shuttled through the group of mutants, controlled by Emma at lightning speed. Less than 10 seconds. Suemo once again gained more than 20,000 points. White Queen also began to cast soul marks. Glancing at Magneto, who fainted on the ground, the silver light in her eyes lit up again. And in just 2 breaths, he became stronger than ever. After the light reached its strongest, a light blue mark shot out from the center of her eyebrows. After a flash, it disappeared into the center of Magneto King's eyebrows on the ground. After a moment, a line flashed between his eyebrows, then disappeared again. At this time, White Queen also slowly opened her eyes. Success? Certainly. White Queen nodded excitedly. This feeling is simply amazing. I can easily feel what the other person is thinking and even control any of his decisions. This is completely different from the superficial manipulation before. Suemo nodded. Naturally, he knew that manipulation like that of White Queen and Professor. And control like Soul Seal is a deeper level, directly controlling the opponent's soul. Magneto will still retain his consciousness and will only obey her orders unconditionally. Even if she asks him to die, he will execute it unconditionally. Then, wake him up and we should leave. With that said, Suemo grabbed one of Magneto's legs and threw him directly into the sea water aside. Watching Magneto fall into the water with a pop. Actually, I can wake him up directly. White Queen explained quietly. Really, it seems there is no need for that now. For a moment, Magneto's figure floated up from the sea water and slowly landed not far from the two of them. He looked at White Queen and Suemo with complicated eyes. At this time, the hatred towards the two of them had completely disappeared in his heart. White Queen glanced at the other party. Eric, go to the boat and wait for us. Good master. Eric bowed his head in response, picked up the helmet on the ground, and walked towards the yacht. After using the Soul Seal, his helmet was completely useless. In a way, Soul Seal is not only a means of control, but also a kind of protection. The White Queen's soul mark will also protect Magneto's brain from being invaded by other people with telepathic abilities. After all, this is a secret technique that has been gradually researched and perfected by countless great powers and countless epics. Suemo didn't think anyone in the world could crack it. At least not on Earth. After Magneto entered the cabin, 7 or 8 figures walked out of the woods in front of the two of them. These are mutants selected by the White Queen who are of some use to them. Naturally, these include Fireman and Raven, who was previously locked in a cell. After sensing Raven in the building, Emma regained control of Pyro and asked him to bring Raven out. I hope you can keep your promise. After Raven said something to Emma, he took the lead and walked towards the yacht. Suemo looked at this scene in surprise. Emma quickly explained. Mystique, I think you have heard of her name. Believe me, she is very useful to us. Suemo nodded, of course he had heard her name. In her previous life, Mystique was known as the most desired woman among men. After all, her ability is to change into anyone's appearance at will. Get her benefits and understand everything. Of course, the great effect White Queen mentioned cannot be in this regard. Suemo also mentioned to the White Queen that he planned to establish an organization dedicated to hunting down evildoers. Although she didn't know his purpose of doing this, the White Queen didn't care about it at all. In her opinion, since Suemo planned to do this, she just had to carry it out. Raven's ability is very suitable for assassination and spying on intelligence. Thinking of this, Suemo asked doubtfully. So, what did you promise her? The White Queen smiled. It's not a big deal. The person she hates the most right now is Eric. I just promised her that she can torture Eric for an hour every once in a while until she calms down. Hearing this, Suemo looked stunned. Sure enough, Emma is not a soft-hearted person after being able to control Hellfire for such a long time. Magneto is under the control of the Soul Mark, so even if he is tortured once a day, there is no need to worry that he will rebel, and there is no loss in letting Raven vent. Let's go, Professor X and the others should be arriving soon. Suemo looked at the time and walked up to the yacht first. The White Queen glanced at the island behind her, with a flash of light in her eyes. After deleting the memories of the remaining mutants on the island, she followed Sumo's footsteps and boarded the yacht. The yacht had left less than 10 minutes ago. A fighter plane slowly landed on the island. Soon, the figures of Professor X and others got off the fighter plane. Oh my god! Looking at the corpses of dozens of mutants in the open space, Iceman Bobby let out a cry of surprise. We're late. Professor. Originally, according to his ability, even in X Academy, this island was within the sensing range of his spiritual ability. But from beginning to end, he was unable to sense the consciousness of anyone on this island. To put it simply, in his previous perception, there was no human presence on this island. But this is clearly not the case. Obviously, there was a person with the same psychic ability as him who interfered with him. Now as the other party leaves, he quickly invades the consciousness of those surviving mutants. However, as he expected, these people had no memory of what had just happened. Storm looked at how almost a third of the island was destroyed. It seems that Eric has encountered a strong enemy. I want to know where he is now, and I can't wait to teach him a lesson. Logan walked up to Professor X with the plastic gun he took from the beast in his hand. He is not on the island now. Eric should have been captured. From the current situation on the island, Professor X can easily draw this conclusion. Episode 35 Death Island, Plan. Suemo didn't care about Professor X's guess. At this time, he was sitting on the cruise ship, listening to Eric explain his plan to create a mutant kingdom. According to him, the reason why he wants to obtain a large portion of funds by hook or by crook is to establish a nation of mutants. The location has been chosen, on an archipelago in the Atlantic Ocean. Of course, the actual operation may not be as simple as imagined. Construction can be done slowly, but you must first have your own defense strength. So he has found a channel from the Bear Country and plans to buy a few mushroom bombs. After successive failures, Eric has realized that relying solely on brute force seems impossible to achieve his wishes, so he plans to take a roundabout path. After hearing the other party's grand plan, Suemo couldn't help but admire Magneto's persistence. After careful consideration, Suemo felt that although Magneto's idea was a bit naive and unlikely to be achieved, it was a good choice to set the organization's headquarters on the archipelago. Moreover, the island has been bought by Eric in some way. Located 1,000 nautical miles east of the United States, it is called the Death Islands. Death Island is located on the route from the United States and the Maple Leaf Country to Europe. It was named because of the dense reefs near the islands, forming a natural shipwreck death area nearby. The main island of the archipelago covers more than 2,000 square kilometers, which is enough to build various facilities on it. Take that yacht. Suemo and the others drove straight east. A few hours later, the yacht has arrived within the Death Islands. With Magneto's control, the yacht docked smoothly on the main island. The main island is in the shape of an oval as a whole. Several houses made of pure metal have been built in the densely wooded and lush jungle on the island. Obviously, these are Magneto's masterpieces. Entering the metal house, what comes into view are more than a dozen piles of US dollars as high as a person. These are all the funds I have collected in the past 2 years. After excluding the cost of buying the island, this is all that is left. The total is 1.6 billion US dollars. Regarding this, neither Sumo nor White Queen's expressions changed. Not to mention that Sumo has a fortune of hundreds of billions. Even the White Queen, when she controlled the Hellfire Club, controlled the money in units of tens of billions, so naturally she would not be moved by the billions of dollars. Sumo stepped forward and picked up a stack of USD. Obviously, thanks to Magneto's ability, the room is well airtight and isolates the moisture from the outside. Since you have decided to establish a stronghold on the island, you naturally have to prepare a lot of work. The architecture on the island is pretty good. Before Magneto bought the island, he had already inspected it. There were still a large number of metal mines under the island. With his ability, he could easily build a steel casting base on the island. The rest are scientific research and logistics personnel. This is quite simple. Recruiting is too troublesome. It is better to kidnap a group of people from underground organizations. The White Queen only needs to brainwash them and they can become the most loyal subordinates. He threw back the wad of dollars in his hand. Sumo looked at a girl with two ponytails standing behind. This girl is one of the mutants they brought back. Ability is nothing unusual, except that the movement speed is 3 times that of ordinary people. But she also has another identity, a well-known hacker on the internet, Shadow. The most glorious achievement was that he once invaded SHIELD's network and replaced Nick Fury's profile photo with a photo of a black braised egg. Surely, I will give you the approximate locations of several underground organizations. Can you determine the specific coordinates of their bases? Shirley patted her private jet confidently. Of course, no problem. Sumo nodded with satisfaction, then turned his eyes to Mystique Raven. Record all the information you know about Sentry Robot Headquarters. As the island is a stronghold, it is natural to increase some defense forces. These Sentry robots are a good choice. The role of these robots is far from just being used to deal with mutants. Each robot has the ability of several mutants, and its combat power is comparable to that of 4th-level mutants like Emma. Just get enough together. Not to mention protecting this small island, even capturing the entire United States is not a problem. After hearing this, Raven showed a trace of embarrassment on his face. I don't think we can take down the Sentry Robot Headquarters. There are various weapons specifically designed to deal with mutants. Even with Emma's psychic ability, there is no way to penetrate into the base. Don't worry, you don't have to worry about this. I have a way. You just need to sort out all the information you know. Seeing that Sumo didn't seem to be lying, Raven nodded helplessly. It's very simple, I can give it to you tonight. After nodding, Sumo finally set his sights on Eric. Your next task is to first build the main building of the base, and then lead the rest of the people to salvage the sunken ship near the island. He couldn't figure out what Magneto had been thinking before. Instead of excavating a treasure house of huge amounts like the island, he relied on gangsters like Kingpin to help him make money. You know, the reason why this place is called Death Island is because there are countless reefs within a few hundred nautical miles around the island. It is for this reason that there are countless shipwrecks in this range. Among them are shipwrecks from hundreds of years ago. These are all treasures. Salvaging a boatload of treasures or antiques is more than the income of these gangsters in several years. As he said that, Sumo looked at the mutant named John. The salvage mission mainly depends on you. He had been tortured by the White Queen before and fainted. He was thrown on the ship and was brought over as well. I didn't expect it to be of great use now. Magneto can only salvage those metal ships and objects, and the rest depends on him. After John heard this, he nodded quickly. After learning about Sumo's plan, these mutants were very excited. Unlike Magneto, they just want to live in a safe and undisturbed place, and this island is undoubtedly a very suitable place right now. And judging from the situation where Magneto surrendered, Sumo's strength is undoubtedly stronger. There is absolutely ability to protect them. Naturally, everyone is very motivated. After arranging everything, Sumo asked Emma to take charge of overall planning, and then came to a cliff on the edge of the island. After controlling the flying knife to carve out a small room of more than 10 square meters on the rock wall, he ducked in directly. The points are enough, and it's time to break through to the planet level. Episode 36 Planet Level Warrior, Space Freezing. Congratulations to the host for getting the wooden spirit, which cost 52,000 points. As soon as the system finished speaking, a white crystal the size of a fist file appeared in his hand, and at the same time, a strange fragrance filled the cave. Is this the wooden spirit? Sumo looked at the crystal that glowed white in his hand, with a hint of fiery color in his eyes. Taking a deep breath, he directly brought the crystal in his hand to his mouth. With a gentle bite, the shell of the crystal was broken, and the pure white liquid inside flowed into the mouth. A strong rice flavor explodes in the mouth. Before he could taste it carefully, the liquid flowed down his throat and into his stomach. After Sumo drank all the liquid in the crystal, he felt a strong burning sensation in his abdomen, and then the heat began to flow to various parts of his body. After a while, Sumo's whole body was like a cooked prawn, and his skin was red. Feeling this situation, he crossed his legs and started to use the genetic energy cultivation method. In an instant, the heat in the body seemed to find a vent and poured into the muscle cells crazily. A crackling sound came from his body. As his body continues to grow stronger, the dark golden ball in the sea of consciousness also began to release a large amount of spiritual power. After the mental power was released, it quickly disappeared into the sea of consciousness, and Sumo's mental power also increased rapidly. I don't know how much time passed. The ball in Sumo's mind shattered with a snap into countless tiny particles. These particles melted quickly like ice and snow. Until this time, the energy of the spiritual core had been completely absorbed by Sumo. This means that his mental psychokinesis has reached the peak of God of War, 1,000 tons. However, although the growth rate of mental psychokinesis has stopped, the energy of the wooden spirit is still improving Sumo's physical fitness. Black substance was constantly discharged from his pores. I don't know how long it took, but the black substance had covered the surface of Sumo's body. There was also a rumbling sound inside his body. After these energies transformed Sumo's physical body to the extreme, the remaining large amounts of energy gathered towards the lower dantian. The position in the center of the lower dantian is constantly condensed and compressed. Until it was compressed to the extreme, a sphere like a miniature planet appeared in this position, and slowly rotated like a planet. With the formation of the planet, all the energy in the body was absorbed by the planet. He closed his eyes in silence and slowly opened his eyes at this moment. Silver light flashed in his eyes. He slowly stood up from the ground, and a series of sounds came from his body. He closed his eyes and looked inside, seeing the slowly rotating planet in his dantian. Is this the sign of entering the planet level? As his heart moved, waves of gravity came out from the miniature planet. Sumo's body floated from the ground. Unlike before, this time he did not resort to any mental psychokinesis. As if he was born with instinct, he can use the miniature planet to control the gravity and magnetism within a certain range around him. It is precisely because of this ability that he can fly in the sky like a fish in water. Not only that, after reaching the planet level, he no longer needs to breathe and can travel freely in space. This is also one of the hallmark abilities of planet level. Get rid of the shackles of the planet completely. System, open the properties panel. Instantly, a familiar screen appeared in front of him. Name, Sumo. Age, 20 years old. Power, 1,320 tons. Speed, 1,300 meters/s. Psychokinesis, 1,000 tons. Special ability, space freezing. Points, 34,420 points. The first is physical strength, which has increased by more than 10 times. It has increased from more than 100 tons to more than 1,000 tons. This power is almost invincible on Earth. With just one punch, a tall building over 30 stories can be easily destroyed. The speed even exceeds Mach 4. This is without the blessing of psychokinesis. If it is driven by psychokinesis, it may exceed Mach 5. Don't underestimate this Mach. You must know that the further back the speed is, the more difficult it will be to improve. After all, the resistance of the air increases exponentially. Psychokinesis, as expected, stayed at the peak of God of War. If you want to break through, you need special skills to condense psychokinesis. However, this is only a matter of time. I believe that it won't take long to break through to the planet level master the gods' telekinesis. What surprised Sumo the most was this extra special ability. Due to their physical constitution, warriors also absorb cosmic energy, but the properties of energy absorbing are different. This also leads to the fact that after breaking through the planet level, various abilities will be obtained due to different energy absorbing. Energy has various attributes, and even with the same attributes, the awakened abilities are different. This space freezing is immediately known to be the ability of the space system. But it seems that the attributes recorded in the exercises do not include spatial attributes. After thinking for a moment, Sumo could only blame it on the differences in the world. Just because the ability of the space system has not been awakened in that world does not mean that this world is not capable. At the moment, Sumo plans to try his own ability. He closed his eyes and felt it, and it was only then that he realized that he seemed to have an inexplicable feeling of control over the surrounding space. Something moved in my heart. Sumo slowly opened his eyes. The surrounding area of 100 meters seemed to be in a state where time stood still. Even the air stopped flowing. The sound of the seawater and the distant chirping of birds that could have been heard disappeared. Take 2 steps out of the cave. Sumo's eyes were suddenly shocked. Within the scope of his sight, the surrounding area of 100 meters seemed to be separated from the world. The seabirds flying in the air and the seawater within the range seemed to be frozen, motionless. Too strong, simply too strong. Sumo let out a burst of exclamation. At this time, he also roughly understood the role of this ability. Able to make the surrounding space in a still state. Unless you have the ability to tear apart space, there is almost no way to move in this space. Only he can move freely. Of course, Sumo can also consume energy to reinforce the frozen space. The file size for reinforcement increases as his strength increases. This ability is somewhat similar to the ability of time standing still. The only difference is that after this ability is exerted, although people in this space cannot move, they have the ability to think. At this moment, Sumo felt a feeling of emptiness in his body. He quickly deactivated this ability. Corresponding to its powerful power, this ability also consumes huge amounts of energy in the body. Under such a situation of covering 100 meters in radius, he could only maintain it for 10 seconds. Sumo took a long breath and suddenly felt a pungent smell pouring into his nose. Seeing the impurities discharged from his body, Sumo jumped into the sea. Episode 37, Star Tower, Star Princess. After soaking in sea water for half an hour, Sumo cleaned the dirt off his body. Just as Sumo was about to leave, he saw a huge amount of sharks swimming towards him in the distance. Sharks are not a strange thing in this wild sea. Although the shark swims very fast, in Sumo's eyes it seems like slow motion. Feel the energy gradually recovering in your body. Sumo flicked his finger. An energy ball the size of a soybean file was shot out of his hand. It submerged into the shark's body in almost the blink of an eye. After being promoted to the planet level, unlike the apprentice level who can only rely on physical combat, he can now release the energy in his body to attack. After the energy ball submerged into the shark's body, an explosion of huge amounts sounded. The shark's body was instantly reduced to pieces. Just then, Sumo suddenly felt an abnormal fluctuation coming from the star tower in the sea of consciousness. Before he could react, he flashed and disappeared. When he appeared again, he was already in a hall full of technology. The hall is the size of a football field. The whole hall is a regular pentagon. On each wall, there is a huge amount of metal door. In the center of the hall is an open console. Could this be the inside of the star tower? Sumo easily guessed his location. At this time, countless rays of light condensed in midair, and finally transformed into the image of a girl. The girl has an oval face, a head full of silver white hair, and is wearing a leather coat, which vividly shows the outline of her figure. Her unbearable waist and 2 straight and slender legs account for nearly 60% of the body. A figure that looks like it came out of a comic book. Her perfect body shape looks like every inch has been measured precisely. After the body was condensed, the girl slowly landed on the ground. Walking up to Sumo, the girl turned around in front of Sumo and asked with a smile on her face. "How's it going? Are you satisfied with my body?" Before Sumo could react, the girl noticed Sumo's gaze and spoke to herself. "It seems you are very satisfied." After saying that, a burst of silvery laughter burst out from the girl's mouth. "You humans are really interesting. Your heart beats faster just because of your appearance." Only then did Sumo have the chance to speak. "Who are you?" The girl suddenly reacted. "Forgot to introduce myself, you can call me Shinji, an intelligent being of the mechanical race, who can be regarded as the weapon spirit of the Star Tower, or it is more appropriate to call me the control center. The master has been promoted to planet level and has unlocked a small part of the Star Tower's abilities." Hearing this, Sumo's eyes lit up. "Master, please come with me." After Shinji finished speaking, she turned around and walked in one direction. This is located at the top of the Star Tower. It is the control center of the Star Tower. It is also the residence of the tower owner, and it is equipped with various auxiliary training rooms. Saying that, Xingji stopped in front of a door, opened the door, and walked in. When Suemo saw this, he followed in without hesitation. No matter how you say that you are the master of the Star Tower, you will not be in danger here. Walking into the room is like entering a corridor in the starry sky. This leads to the simulated battle room, where you can freely choose to fight various opponents. Of course, the battles are all conducted in the virtual space, so there is no need to worry about being hurt. The owner can try it in the future, which is very helpful to improve the combat experience. After that, he continued to lead Suemo into the next room. This is the lounge. Room after room is introduced. Finally, Xingji and Suemo stopped in front of the last room. This is the training room. Practicing in it can speed up the flow of time. However, according to the current strength of the master, it can only withstand 10 times the acceleration at most. When Suemo heard this, his heart moved. So as my strength increases, the flow rate of time inside can also increase. Of course. Xingji nodded, naturally. The flow of time here can be accelerated up to tens of millions of times. Hearing this, Sumo's eyes lit up with excitement. Even though it only took just over 2 months for me to reach the planet level, in the later stages of cultivation, the speed of this lineage of cultivation is definitely not fast. It can easily take dozens to hundreds of years to comprehend the laws. Time. With this time-accelerated training room, it will undoubtedly greatly increase the speed of your cultivation. Right. At this time, Xingji on the side suddenly clapped her hands. A slight wave of his right hand. The two have arrived on a platform of huge amounts. The platform seemed to be built in the boundless starry sky. The car looked around and saw countless file-sized planets scattered like stars. Xingji saw Suemo looking at those planets. This is a secret space in the Star Tower. There are countless secret spaces like this in the entire Star Tower, and the ones you see, Master, are all sealed stars. With the current strength of the Master, there is no way to control them yet. Suemo nodded. According to the system, each of these sealing stars has reached the level of a treasure. With his current planet-level strength, even if it is the lowest treasure, let alone a treasure, I am afraid that even if I drain it, I will not be able to drive it. Under the leadership of Xingji, the two came to the center of the platform. In the center of the platform, there stood an altar. On the altar, there were 2 dark light pillars, leading into the void. The source of the light beam is the 2 dark divine books. At this time, the appearance of the 2 dark divine books has undergone earth-shaking changes. The pages of the book are no longer the original paper material, but seem to be made entirely of black energy. The 2 light pillars are a steady stream of dark energy pouring into the book. This is? Seeing this scene, Sumo's eyes showed surprise. Xingji chuckled. When I first sensed these 2 books, I discovered that there was a big problem with these books. Although the magic recorded above is of great use to the owner, it also has great hidden dangers. Suemo knew this very well. After all, almost all those who practice the Dark God Book will have their minds eroded by dark energy. Having said this, Xingji showed a meaningful smile on her face. To put it simply, this magic means that when the user borrows the opponent's magic power, he brings some private goods, a special energy, to erode the mind of the person who uses magic. So, for the sake of the master, I thought of helping the master directly lend him enough mana to use magic for thousands of years, remove the special energy from these mana, and store it in this book. From now on, when the master uses magic, it is equivalent to borrowing the magic power from the books. There will be no hidden dangers. Episode 38, Sithorn, Super Power Bank? After listening to Xingji's narration, Suemo looked happy. I originally thought that Xingji was an ordinary intelligent life similar to Babata, but now it seems that it is not that simple. If you think about it, you will know that Sithorn, god of the underworld, is not a fool. How could he not feel Xingji borrowing his strength like this? At present, there are only 2 possibilities. First, the mana borrowed by Xingji was just a drop in the bucket for Sithorn. He didn't care and maintained an indifferent attitude, so he did not cut off the mana output. However, Suemo looked at the huge torrent of mana stretching out in front of him, like the Milky Way, and it was obviously unlikely. If these magical powers don't matter to him, I'm afraid he can overthrow the Court of Life and replace it himself. Then it can only be the second case. Sithorn felt this situation, but he had no way to stop it. Suemo is almost certain that this is the real situation. After all, at that time, there was an unknown being controlling the real dark book, but it was also killed in his own mind. At that time, I was still a little confused. Thinking about it now, it is obvious that Sithorn was struggling feebly. Thinking of this, Suemo looked at Xingji beside him with fiery eyes. Xingji noticed Sumo's gaze, deliberately putting on a shy expression. "Master, what do you want to do?" "Well." After hesitating for a long time, Suemo still didn't say that word. But looking at Xingji's joking expression, Suemo knew that the other party obviously did it on purpose. After letting out a chuckle, Xingji looked back. Suemo coughed lightly to hide the embarrassment on his face. "I mean, what level is your strength probably at?" After Xingji heard this, her laughter gradually subsided. "Actually, my strength is not too important to the master. After all, I have no way to leave the Star Tower to help the master. At most, I can help the master control the Star Tower to deal with the enemies that invade the Sea of Consciousness. Master only needs to know that in this world, no one can leave after entering the Master's Sea of Consciousness." Hearing this answer, Suemo took a breath of cold air. "So much? Then when he completely controls the Star Tower, wouldn't he become invincible?" It wasn't until a minute later that Suemo calmed down his agitated mood. At this moment, Xingji was already standing on the altar in front of her. He reached out and took down a dark book on it, leaving only one to continue absorbing dark energy. "The mana here should be enough for the master to use it for a long time. When it's all used up, just replace it with another one." He ducked back to Suemo and handed him the dark book in his hand. Suemo reached out and took the Book of Darkness. I was once again shocked by Xingji's strength. There is no one who can use Sithorn, one of the 4 oldest ancient gods, as a power bank. At this time, after absorbing a large amount of dark energy, there is almost no difference between the 2 dark books. After such a long period of energy baptism and infusion, even the most ordinary paper will become a powerful artifact. After handing the Book of Darkness into Sumo's hands, Xingji stretched out her hand and waved it gently. A drop of blood seeped out from Sumo's finger, and after a flash, it submerged into the dark book. The dark divine book emitted a fierce black light, and then disappeared into Sumo's eyebrows like lightning. "That's it. In the future, this book will not only be the source of your magic power, but also greatly increase your spell casting speed and magic power." Hades. Sithorn's huge body was now less than half of its original size. After Xingji took down a dark divine book, Sithorn, who was already feeling a little desperate, almost burst into tears with excitement. "Slow down, slow down." Sithorn's excited roar echoed in the underworld. "You know, according to the previous absorption speed, if there are no accidents, I am afraid that if he persists for another month at most, he will be sucked dry. During this period of time, he tried tens of thousands of ways, but could not cut off the absorption of his energy by an unknown existence. The multi-universe god of Hades, who is comparable to the 5 great gods, is simply cornered. Fortunately, the absorption speed has been reduced by half, and his energy absorbing speed is much faster than energy absorption. It only takes a while for him to recover." The excited Sithorn didn't know how long it took before he recovered from his excitement. Using all his strength to activate his mana, the dark energy in the underworld turned into a huge amount of vortex, converging towards his position. On the other side, Suemo had already withdrawn from the Star Tower. Returning to the cave opened on the mountain wall, Suemo took out the Book of Darkness and studied it. Although the entire Dark God book was turned into energy, the handwriting recording magic on it remained. "Open the Book of Darkness." A series of strange symbols appeared in Sumo's sight. After staring at the symbols for a moment, the symbols on the page flew out of the book, turned into streams of information in the air, and poured directly into Sumo's mind. Almost instantly, he understood what was recorded in the book. The magic recorded on the first page is the portal. After closing his eyes and thinking for a while, Suemo opened his eyes and let out a sigh of relief. If he remembered correctly, it took the gifted Doctor Strange a long time to learn this magic. "I don't know what my magic talent is." After reviewing the contents in his mind again, Suemo decided to give it a try. At this moment, he made a seal with his left hand and lightly drew a semicircle with his right hand. A space door with black sparks slowly opened not far in front of him. Seeing this scene, Sumo's eyes flashed with excitement. He never expected that just for the first time, he would successfully cast the magic. But after a little thought, I understood. Generally speaking, the magic performed by a mage or wizard has a close relationship with spiritual power. The stronger the mental power, the higher the magic talent. And Sumo is now a master at the pinnacle of the God of War level. The intensity of mental power is more than 1,000 times stronger than that of ordinary people. It is reasonable to be able to successfully cast magic the first time. As the space door slowly opened, the scene on the other side also clearly appeared in Sumo's eyes. It seemed that the space door opened into a steaming bathroom. In the misty mist, a smooth back was reflected in the eyelids. The delicate white skin of the figure and the hazy beauty in the heat will probably make anyone gasp in exclamation after seeing it. When Sumo saw this, he looked stunned and quickly cast another spell to close the space door. If this is seen by the other party, I'm afraid it will be directly defined as a pervert. But I don't know if it's because I'm too unfamiliar with casting spells for the first time. The original intention was to close the space door and allow silence, but after casting the spell, the space door doubled in size and almost instantly opened to the point where a person could pass through. The woman who was taking a shower seemed to be aware of something abnormal behind her. After all, with such a large space door, coupled with the temperature difference between the two places, the airflow is already very obvious. Feeling the coolness behind her, the woman slowly turned around. They looked at Sumo, who was standing on the side of the space gate. Seeing the woman looking over, Sumo also realized that it seemed it was too late to turn it off now. Do you believe me when I say I didn't mean it? When the woman saw the strange space door behind her and Sumo standing behind the door, she had a look of horror on her face. And accompanied by screams, he curled up into the corner of the bathroom. It's not that women don't want to go out. The main reason is that the space door opens right at the door, blocking the exit. There is no way for women to escape even if they want to. Episode 39 Hydra Base. Listening to the other party's harsh cry, Sumo also became numb. Fortunately, the space door in front of him gradually closed after losing the support of Sumo's energy. Looking at the space door that was gradually closing, Sumo let out a sigh of relief. New York. Sky in the bathroom looked at the closed space door in front of her in shock. He reached out and took off the clothes hanging on the side, put them on his body, and covered up his amazing curves. Then she walked forward carefully, reached out and touched the door. There was an incredible look on his face. It's amazing. Was that magic just now? No, hallucination, it must be hallucination. It seems that I can't stay up late these days. In a cave on the island. Sumo reached out and wiped the sweat from his head. He had just intended to open a portal leading to the villa where Wanda and the others lived, but there seemed to be some deviations. In order to avoid the same situation, he stretched out his hand and waved, and the dark god book appeared in front of him again, and he began to seriously study the records about the space door above. After studying it in detail several times, Sumo took a deep breath and waved his right hand gently again. After the same sparks flashed as last time, a space door opened in front of him again. This time, a familiar scene appeared on the other side of the space door. It was the bedroom of the Seaview Villa. Seeing this, Sumo looked happy. Success! As the space door expanded to the height of a normal person, Sumo stepped through it with a gentle step. The other end of the space door opens into the bedroom of the Seaview Villa. Sumo opened the bedroom door and happened to see Wanda walking in. Seeing the door suddenly opened and Sumo appearing behind the door, Wanda was stunned for a moment, then tilted her head and glanced into the room in confusion. Wait a minute, when I first came out, there was no one in the room, how did you get in? Sumo smiled softly. Don't worry about these details. The important thing is that we haven't seen each other for a long time. Don't you have anything you want to do? When Wanda heard this, her face turned red. In her exclamation, she was hugged by Sumo, a princess, and then the door closed and locked automatically. After a while, a harmonious symphony came from the room. Fortunately, the sound insulation effect of the room is pretty good. This prevented the sound from reaching the ears of Pietro, who was playing with iron downstairs. During this period, Pietro, who could not go out, and with the encouragement of rapidly improving his physical fitness, almost became a serious fan of iron lifting. I spend most of every day in the gym downstairs. 2 or 3 hours later, Wanda leaned into Sumo's arms with a blushing face. So what you're saying is that we can go out as we please from now on? Of course, it was for your safety that I placed you here. Now that the crisis is over, of course you can go out and shop as you please. After receiving Sumo's affirmative answer, Wanda showed an excited smile on her face. Although she likes this kind of isolated life very much, she always feels a little bored after a long time. After a moment, Wanda bit her lip, hesitated, and then spoke. "Honey, I want to go to college." Suemo reached out and stroked the other person's smooth back. "Why did you suddenly have this idea?" "Although I like this kind of life very much, I always feel like I am wasting my time. I want to take advantage of this opportunity to learn something. What do you think?" Because both Wanda and Pietro were orphans, they both gave up their studies in order to make a living after finishing middle school. "Of course I support you. If there is a university you want to go to, I will arrange it." Suemo had no objection to this. After thinking about it again and again, Suemo still felt that it was more reliable to rely on the Mind Stone to help the other party awaken, but it would still be 3 or 4 years before Loki brought the Mind Stone to the Earth. During this time, it would be a good choice for her to go to college to experience college life. "Really? Thank you." Hearing that Suemo was very supportive of her idea, Wanda excitedly pecked Suemo on the face. "Your reward is too perfunctory. Then what do you want? How about continuing?" "No." "Well. Island of the Dead." Suemo and White Queen stood on the highest mountain on the island. He was holding a cylindrical metal instrument as tall as a person in his hand. "This thing is not much bigger than the one on the ship. Is the coverage area really that large?" White Queen looked at the metal instrument and asked doubtfully. "Certainly." Suemo nodded. The one in his hand is an optical invisibility device, able to generate illusions within a certain range. Once the action on the island begins, it will be easily photographed by satellite. For this reason, Suemo specially redeemed this instrument from the system. This cost Suemo more than 10,000 points. Carefully place the instrument on the ground and press the start button on it. In an instant, a drill bit protruded from the bottom of the cylindrical instrument and plunged into the rock below. Then a blazing light shot out from the top of the instrument. After the light reached an altitude of several hundred meters, it dispersed in all directions. "Come." After a while, the island and the surrounding large sea area were enveloped by a transparent film of light. The light film disappeared directly after a flash. But at this time, if you look towards the island from the outside, you will find that all the people and buildings on the island have disappeared. Suemo and the two had just returned to the newly built villa in the center of the island, and Shirley came up to them with a pair of dark circles under her eyes. Although the other party looked like he hadn't slept all night, his energy was extremely high. "The first Hydra base has been found." As she spoke, she showed the screen of the computer in her hand to the two of them. Above is a surveillance screen, divided into blocks. It can be seen from the surveillance footage that this base is located on the top of a snow-capped mountain, and the building looks a bit dated. Suemo could tell at a glance that this was the Hydra base where Wanda and Pietro awakened their abilities. Shirley then tapped a few times on the keyboard. The screen switched to a map, with a red dot marked on the map, which was obviously the location of the base. "It is Sokovia, located in Eastern Europe." "Emma, it seems we need to go to Eastern Europe." "Happy to oblige." Emma nodded. After hesitating for a moment, Suemo waved his hand gently, and a portal opened at the side. Suemo took the lead and stepped in. The White Queen behind took a look at the portal with black sparks, and followed Suemo in with curiosity on her face. When they came out, the two of them were already on a small island of less than 1 square kilometer. Seeing this, White Queen's eyes lit up when she looked at Suemo. The more she gets in touch with him, the more she realizes that the man in front of her is like a treasure, with all kinds of surprising abilities always appearing in him. Not to mention the phantom magic secret technique that Suemo taught her, it doubled her overall strength in a short period of time. The various abilities he possesses are endless. The strong physique coupled with psychokinesis object control also makes her immune to her psychic ability. Now there is this mysterious teleportation ability. Mysterious men can always arouse the interest of women, even powerful women like the White Queen are no exception. If it weren't for the inappropriateness of the current situation, I'm afraid she would have hung on to the other party by now and completely trapped him. Episode 40, The Intelligent Baron Teslak. "Get Eric over here." After hearing Sumo's instructions, Emma regained her eyes that were about to tighten. It was only then that she noticed that in the distant sky, Magneto Eric was floating in the air. Under his feet, a ship of huge amounts comparable to a luxury cruise ship was slowly surfacing. Apparently they have started to act according to Sumo's plan. In Sumo's opinion, only the White Queen herself can completely take down the Hydra base. After all, there seemed to be no combatants capable of taking action in the Hydra base. It's nothing more than some conventional combat weapons. There are just ordinary people inside. Facing the White Queen's psychic ability, without special preventive measures, it can be said that there is almost no resistance to the ability. However, Sumo's purpose was not to destroy the base. Instead, he made the entire base his own, not only the researchers and soldiers, but also the various equipment inside. This involves a problem, which requires moving all these things back. Although Sumo is capable of doing these things. But when there are subordinates who can do it for you, why bother doing it yourself? It's not just for the subordinates to use. Eastern Europe. Sokovia. A Hydra base located on a certain mountain. In the woods halfway up the mountain, a space door slowly opened. Sumo and the others stepped out of the space door. Looking up at the ancient building full of atmosphere on the top of the mountain, Sumo turned to look at Emma behind him. The rest is up to you. Sure. White Queen nodded and took 2 steps forward, her eyes filled with silver light. Barely 10 seconds. The corners of Emma's mouth raised slightly. Found you. Before setting off, Sumo had informed her that the person in charge of the base was a man named Strucker. She only needed to control him to successfully control the Hydra base. The room in the southeast corner of the top floor of the base. As soon as the White Queen finished speaking, a space door appeared in front of the 3 people again. After the 3 of them passed through the space door, they appeared in the room Emma mentioned. This room looks like an office. In the room at this time, a middle-aged man with short hair was standing in front of the table with a dull expression. Sumo walked forward, sat down on the chair behind the table, and then winked at the White Queen. Emma nodded, and after snapping her fingers, the man suddenly came back to his senses as if he had just woken up from a dream. Noticing the 3 people who suddenly appeared in the room, his expression changed. He took a few steps back, without leaving a trace, looking at the 3 of them cautiously. Who are you, and why do you appear in my room? At the same time, he put his right hand behind his back and touched the hard object in his hand, feeling certain in his heart. Then he drew the gun cleanly, aimed, and shot. It took almost less than a second to complete a set of movements. Baron Teslak was convinced that even the most powerful mercenary could not move faster than himself. He was confident that the other party would not be able to react in such a short period of time. It turned out to be exactly what he expected. The 3 of them did not make any dodge movements and allowed the bullets to pass through their eyebrows. Baron Teslak looked at the 3 corpses lying on the ground and let out a sigh of relief. But he was not happy yet. There was a burst of applause in the room. Then the scene before him dissipated like a bubble. The 3 dead people appeared in the room again, still standing in the same position as before. The one who applauded was the young man sitting in the seat. Seeing this scene, a trace of cold sweat slipped from Teslak's forehead. How is it possible? I clearly. His worldview received huge amounts of impact. Sumo looked at him doubting his life, and a smile appeared on his face. It has to be said that using Emma's ability to deal with these ordinary people is simply a dimensionality reduction attack. Even Emma before practicing Phantom Magic's secret technique could easily play with them, let alone Emma now. Give her a year or 2 to develop, and even Professor X might not be able to decipher her illusion. Compared with Emma, who has practiced the Phantom Magic secret technique, she is like a barefoot doctor and a doctoral student who graduated from a regular medical university. It's not that Professor X's talent is not strong enough. It's the cognitive gap between the 2. One is completely based on one's own exploration, while the other is the experience summed up by countless ancestors over millions of years. There is simply no comparison between the 2. Why, are you confused that we have come back to life after we have already died? You still have bullets in your gun. You can try again. Maybe this time we will be killed by you. Baron Strucker gradually calmed down after hearing Sumo's words. As a senior member of the Hydra organization, he doesn't know anything about these people with supernatural abilities. If the other party is so calm, then he can be sure that if he shoots again, the result will not change, but it may anger the other party. Realizing this, Teslak simply threw away the gun in his hand. Since you didn't kill me right away, I'm still of some use to you. Tell me what you want me to do. After listening to what the other party said, Sumo nodded with satisfaction. He is worthy of being a highly intelligent person who can even develop some skills with the Mind Stone. The decisiveness with which he handles matters is truly astonishing. He quickly recognized the situation at hand and made the best choice for himself. It's very simple. I want you and the entire base to work for me in the future. Can. Without any hesitation, Strack agreed directly. Sumo naturally wouldn't believe that the other party would sincerely surrender, but it didn't matter. With Emma here, even if the other person has other thoughts, she can know it immediately. And Emma's ability has another effect, which is to subtly influence other people's thoughts. This kind of ability is different from the soul seal, which can only quietly change a certain idea of the other party, such as loyalty to the organization. Just like the brainwashing method of MLM, after a long period of various psychological interventions, the other party can be brainwashed unknowingly. The reason why the Hellfire organization has been able to develop so powerfully is due to her ability. In the future, under the influence of Emma's ability, these people will soon become fanatical believers of the organization. Next, under Teslax's command, the entire Hydra base moved. All kinds of weapons and equipment, tanks, aircraft, etc., were all transferred to the Death Island through the space gate. In this process, Sumo's eyes were opened. As one of the oldest organizations in the world, the foundation of the Hydra base is quite strong. There are 7 or 8 independently developed fighters alone. There are countless types of tanks and combat vehicles. And it also contains a complete production line, capable of producing such weapons and equipment. It can be said that if there are sufficient funds, the troops can be deployed in a short period of time enough to start a war. The relocation project lasted all day. Wait until it gets dark. The entire Hydra base was empty except for one building with a sense of age. Of course, the reason why it could be moved in one day was also due to Magneto. If he hadn't been able to directly take away the equipment weighing several tons, this process would have taken several days. As the space door closed, a huge amount of explosions sounded at the base location. The remaining buildings were reduced to rubble.